All right, welcome in, everyone. Today we're going to do a deep dive into how sustainability is changing the world of customer experience.
Yeah, it's a hot topic for
I was
sure.
looking at a really interesting article for this one.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Sustainability Has Become Essential to Customer Experience, CX. How brands can align with customer values.
Okay, interesting title.
And one of the key takeaways here is that, sustainability,
Hmm.
it's not just a trend anymore.
Yeah,
Like, it's really at the core of how consumers are making decisions now.
that's really fascinating to see how it's becoming such a fundamental shift.
Right.
Like consumers, they're not just expecting companies to, be sustainable in the background.
Right, exactly.
They're really actively seeking out brands that align with their own values. It's a
Yeah.
whole new level of engagement and awareness.
Yeah, and companies are definitely starting to notice.
Oh, absolutely.
There was a study done by IBM in 2024,
Yeah.
and they found that a huge percentage of consumers, like 78%,
Well-
say that sustainability is a major factor
Yeah.
in their choices.
That's a huge number.
Yeah,
So, if you're a business and you're ignoring that,
right.
you're potentially alienating a massive portion of your customer base.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're losing like 8 out of 10 people, essentially,
Yeah, potentially.
right from the start.
Yeah.
And it goes even deeper than just brand preference, though.
Right.
61% of consumers said they're actually willing to change
Oh, wow.
their shopping habits to reduce their impact on the environment.
So it's not just about choosing one brand over another. It's
Yeah.
about actually changing the way we shop.
Yeah, fundamental.
Fundamentally, yeah.
So what are they looking for then?
Right.
These eco-conscious consumers.
Well, the article highlights a few key things.
Okay.
Safe and natural ingredients, for example, is a big one.
Okay, so that makes sense.
The use of recycled materials, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But I think perhaps most importantly is transparency.
Right.
Like, consumers really want to know what companies are doing to minimize their environmental impact.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Transparency builds trust.
Right.
It allows consumers to make more informed choices.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that, there's also a financial incentive here for businesses.
Okay, how so?
The study found that 73% of these shoppers
Okay.
are willing to pay more
Interesting.
for sustainable products.
So there's a real market for it.
There is, yeah.
Consumers are willing to put their money where their mouth is, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's up from 50% just a year ago, so it's clearly a growing trend.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not just a nice to have anymore.
Right.
It's becoming essential. But there is
Yeah.
there is a challenge here.
Mhm.
Consumers want to shop sustainably,
Yeah.
but they don't always have the information
Right.
to make those choices.
That's a good point.
Only 41% said they feel like they have enough information.
That's a huge gap.
It is, yeah, a huge gap. So there's an opportunity there for businesses to really step in
Mhm.
and educate their customers,
Absolutely.
be more transparent.
Yeah, I think technology plays a big role here.
Oh, how so?
We're seeing businesses use data analytics and
Yeah.
AI to actually measure and optimize
Right.
their sustainability efforts,
Yeah.
but also to help their customers make more informed choices.
Okay, so tell me, how is data being used to understand these changing demands?
Well, for example, you can track customer preferences.
Oh,
You can see what kinds of sustainable products people are drawn to.
okay.
You can also identify those really eco-conscious customer segments.
So you can target your marketing more effectively.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And, we've talked about measuring a company's own impact.
Right.
That can be really complex.
Yeah, I imagine.
But data can help with that too.
Okay.
You can track everything from carbon footprint to resource usage to waste reduction.
So it's about getting a holistic view of the business.
Exactly. And not only does this give you insights into where you can improve,
Mm-hmm.
it also allows for greater transparency with those consumers.
Right, who are increasingly demanding that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So data really is at the heart of all this.
It is, yeah.
It's not just about gathering the data, it's about using it to optimize
Right.
your whole operation.
Exactly. I mean, think about supply chains, for example.
Okay, yeah.
You can use data to optimize those for greater efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
So you reduce overstock,
Right.
you minimize waste.
It's all connected.
It is, yeah.
And we can't forget about AI in all of this.
Right.
I mean, it's everywhere these days.
It really is.
And it's having such a big impact on, all aspects of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
How is it driving this sustainable innovation?
Well, I think we're moving beyond the idea of AI just for efficiency.
Right.
It's becoming a real driver of sustainable innovation.
Okay, so give me some examples. How is it changing the game?
So think about inventory management.
Okay.
AI can actually analyze data
Yeah.
to predict inventory needs incredibly accurately.
So you're not overproducing,
Exactly.
reducing waste.
Yeah. And then there's generative AI.
Right, right.
Imagine you're shopping for a pair of shoes online,
Okay.
and a generative AI tool pops up,
Mm-hmm.
and it suggests similar shoes,
Okay.
but made from recycled materials,
Wow.
or produced by a company with a strong commitment to ethical labor practices.
That's amazing.
Oh,
I like
yeah.
having this personal sustainability assistant
It is, yeah.
guiding you toward better choices.
Exactly.
But I do have to wonder, because obviously AI requires a lot of computing power,
Hmm.
does that have an environmental impact of its own?
It does, and that's something we need to be mindful of.
Right.
The responsible use of AI is really important.
Right.
That means optimizing algorithms to reduce energy consumption and using renewable energy sources wherever possible.
So thinking about the whole picture,
Exactly.
not just the immediate benefits.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this shift in demand
Mhm.
and how technology can help meet that demand.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd love to get into some specific examples.
Okay. Yeah.
The article highlights a few brands
Right.
that are doing a really great job
Mm.
of integrating sustainability
Yeah.
into their customer experience.
Yeah, there are some inspiring examples out there.
Are there any that stand out to you?
Well, Patagonia is, a classic example.
Right.
They've been committed to sustainability for a long time.
Decades, yeah.
It's woven into every part of their business.
Yeah. I remember that "Don't Buy This Jacket" campaign.
Oh, yeah.
It was so bold.
It was.
It made me think, do I really need to buy new things all the time? Do you
Exactly.
think that had a real impact?
I think it definitely sparked a conversation
Yeah.
about mindful consumption, about challenging that idea that we always need more stuff.
Yeah.
And it also highlighted Patagonia's commitment to quality,
Yeah.
to durability.
Right. Buy it once and it lasts forever.
Exactly. Invest in pieces that'll last a lifetime.
Right. And they go beyond that.
They do.
They're very transparent about their supply chain.
Absolutely.
They offer lifetime repairs to reduce waste.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, they're really walking the walk.
Yeah.
What about smaller companies?
Mhm.
Are there any that are, maybe lesser known,
Yeah.
but doing really cool things?
There are tons.
Yeah.
One that comes to mind is 3/4.
Okay, I've never heard of them.
They're a fashion brand based in Greece,
Okay.
and they've really made sustainability a core part of their brand.
Okay, what are they doing that's unique?
Well, they use upcycled materials whenever possible.
That's cool.
They source everything locally to reduce their carbon footprint,
Mm-hmm.
and they produce in small batches to avoid overproduction.
Right, so no waste.
Yeah, minimal waste.
And are they transparent with their customers?
Oh, incredibly. They share a lot of detail about their process, about the impact of each garment.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
so important to be authentic
It is, yeah.
and genuine about your efforts.
Yeah,
It's inspiring to see a company like that making such a big impact.
it really is.
We've seen some really great examples, but
Sure.
for businesses that are just starting out,
Right.
it can be really overwhelming.
It can, Ian.
Where do they even begin?
Well, I think the most important thing is to start with some self-reflection.
Okay.
Ask yourself, what are our core values as a business?
Right.
How can we align what we do with those values?
Oh, it's about getting really clear on your purpose.
Exactly. And then you can start to identify those areas where you can make meaningful changes.
It might feel daunting at first,
It can, yeah.
but every step counts.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of resources available to help.
Okay, good.
Industry organizations, sustainability consultants, government programs, online communities.
Well,
So there's a lot of support out there.
so if you're feeling inspired, don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
And the more we collaborate, the greater our collective impact will be.
That's a great point. We'll dive into those actionable steps
Right.
and the future of sustainable CX
Yeah.
in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
But for now, we hope this has given you some food for thought and a sense of optimism about the future.
Absolutely.
So last time, we talked about that big shift, consumer demand for sustainability.
Yeah.
And how tech's giving brands those tools to meet those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
But what does that actually look like?
Mhm.
What there's tangible things businesses are doing?
Right, where the rubber meets the road. There's some really cool stuff happening, like even something as basic as packaging.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's often that first impression a customer has.
Yeah, it can make a big impact.
It does.
Especially if you're ordering something online, it's like the first thing you see.
Right. And eco-conscious consumers are paying attention to that. Switching to biodegradable stuff, recyclable materials, that's kind of the obvious first step.
Right.
But some companies are going further,
Okay, how so?
minimizing the packaging altogether, designing it for reuse.
Mm-hmm.
I even saw one company incorporating seeds into the packaging so you can plant it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So it's not waste, it's something good for the environment.
exactly.
I love that.
And it goes beyond the materials, too. Some brands are choosing local warehouses or
Correct.
carbon-neutral shipping.
So it reduces that transportation impact.
Exactly.
It's about thinking through every step of the process.
It is, yeah.
Consumers are getting smart to greenwashing.
Oh, yeah.
It's not enough to just say you're eco-friendly.
You have to show it.
You got to walk the walk. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And speaking of transparency,
Yeah.
that's another area where I've seen some changes. More companies are releasing those sustainability reports.
Yeah. Letting consumers see the details.
It's like a peek behind the curtain,
It is, yeah.
showing the numbers, the progress.
Yeah.
No more hiding information.
Right. And clear labeling.
Yes.
Make it easy for consumers to spot those sustainable choices.
You should be like a glance at the label and
Exactly, yeah.
and social media plays a huge role too, right?
It's huge, especially for reaching those younger consumers.
Yeah.
It's a way to communicate your efforts.
Be transparent, be authentic.
Yeah, and show that you're actually doing the work.
Actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
We talked about partnerships a little earlier.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that? How are they driving sustainability?
Well, no company can do this alone.
True.
It takes collaboration.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly. Partnering with NGOs, with startups,
Okay.
even industry groups.
It's like tapping into a wider pool of resources and knowledge.
It is, yeah. And there's some great global initiatives, too.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
Right.
It gives businesses a framework, a way to align their efforts.
So thinking bigger than just your own company.
Exactly, yeah.
So this brings us back to those trends we talked about. Consumer-driven sustainability
Yeah.
with Gen Z and millennials leading the charge.
They have high expectations.
They do.
They want that whole shopping experience to align with their values.
They're savvy, they're informed,
They are.
they want transparency, they want convenience.
Right. Sustainable choices shouldn't be difficult.
Right. It should be easy.
Yeah.
So how can brands use tech to create those kinds of experiences?
Well, one technology that's really interesting is generative AI.
Oh, yeah. That's a hot topic right now.
It is, yeah. Imagine browsing a store online and you see a sustainability score for each product.
Oh, wow. Like a nutritional label, but for the planet.
Exactly.
Mhm.
You see the carbon footprint, how it compares to others, even get personalized recommendations based on your preferences.
That would be incredible.
Right.
No more guesswork.
Yeah. And think about AI-powered chatbots
Okay.
answering all your sustainability questions in real time.
So if I want to know how to recycle something,
You just ask where the materials came from, anything.
it's like having a sustainability expert on Call 247.
Exactly.
What about beyond online shopping? What about physical stores?
Yeah, well, we're seeing more interactive displays in stores,
Okay.
educating consumers about sustainability efforts, in-store recycling programs,
Yeah.
even events that bring people together to learn about it.
Yeah, making it tangible,
Exactly.
not just an abstract idea.
And this leads to another trend, circular commerce.
Okay, yeah, we touched on that earlier.
It's about moving away from that take, make, dispose model,
Right.
keeping products in use for as long as possible.
Closing the loop.
Exactly. We're seeing more pre-owned product lines, resale programs, even subscription models for durable goods.
Oh, interesting.
So instead of owning something, you subscribe to a service that gives you access to it.
So when you're done with it, it goes back to the company.
Exactly. To be refurbished, rented to someone else.
That's a really clever way to change how we think about consumption.
It is, yeah. It's about access, not necessarily ownership.
It's a cool trend. I'm curious to see where it goes.
Me too. And it's not just products, it's services too.
Oh, okay.
Like a carbon-neutral hotel stay, a restaurant with locally sourced food.
So taking a holistic view.
Exactly, considering the whole life cycle of everything.
And that requires a real mindset shift.
It does, yeah. Both for businesses and consumers.
We've covered a lot here.
It would.
Tangible things like packaging, labeling, to bigger ideas like circular commerce.
Yeah.
But it seems like the common thread is innovation.
It is, yeah.
Brands are getting creative.
Absolutely. It's not just about new tech or materials.
All
It's
right.
about rethinking business models.
Challenging the status quo.
Exactly. Asking, how can we do things differently?
Yeah, how can we make a positive impact?
Yeah.
It's exciting to see how this challenge is driving positive change.
It
It
is.
feels like a turning point.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there are roadblocks, challenges along the way.
There are, yeah. And that's something we'll dive into
Okay,
in the last part of our deep dive.
looking forward to it. We've definitely given our listeners a lot to think about.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so we've talked about all the positive changes, those cool innovations happening in sustainable customer experience. But I'm guessing it's not always easy, right? What kind of challenges are businesses facing as they're trying to become more sustainable?
Yeah, you're right. It definitely has its hurdles. I think one of the biggest ones is honestly cost.
Yeah.
You know, sourcing sustainable materials, implementing new tech, changing those supply chains.
Yeah, it can be expensive.
It can require a lot of upfront investment. And especially for smaller businesses, that's a tough one to swallow.
Right, because how do you balance that need to be sustainable with, needing to stay profitable,
Mhm.
especially in a competitive market?
It is. It's a balancing act. But I think it's important to shift the perspective a bit. Instead of seeing sustainability just as a cost,
Hmm.
think of it as an investment.
Okay, I like that. An investment in the future.
Exactly, in the future of your business and the future of the planet.
Yeah.
And the return on that investment can be huge.
In what way?
Well, think about it. Increased customer loyalty, a stronger brand reputation, reduced operational costs in the long run.
So it's like playing the long game.
Exactly. You got to see sustainability as a fundamental shift, not just a passing trend.
Right. And the companies that jump on board early, they're the ones who are going to benefit the most.
Absolutely.
So for those business leaders who are, inspired to make a change,
Yeah.
but they feel stuck,
Mm-hmm.
what would you tell them? Where do they even start?
I always say, go back to the basics.
Mm.
Ask yourself, what are our core values, as a company?
Yeah.
How can we match what we do with those values?
It's like a values check-in.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then once you've got that figured out, you can start to pinpoint where you can make the biggest impact.
Right.
Maybe it's switching to renewable energy. Maybe it's cutting down on waste.
Right.
Maybe it's working with suppliers who share your values.
So don't try to do everything at once.
No, pick your battles. Start small and build from there.
Right. And remember, like you said before, there's help out there.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have to do this alone.
So many resources, organizations, consultants,
Yeah.
government programs, there are communities online, people who've been there.
So reach out, connect with other businesses.
Exactly. Share what you're learning. Learn from others.
It's a journey. Right.
I think it is a journey, not a destination. You'll hit bumps along the way, but just stay focused on your goals. Keep learning.
Yeah. Progress over perfection.
I love that. That's a great way to put it because that's what sustainability is. It's a process of constant improvement.
And it's something that we all have to be a part of.
Absolutely. Individuals, businesses, communities, everyone.
We all have a role to play. So to our listeners, we hope this deep dive has given you some ideas, some inspiration.
Yeah.
Remember, every choice we make, it matters. Every action has an impact.
Thank you for joining us on this exploration.
And until next time, keep diving deep and keep making a difference.
Yeah.